Good morning. How are you doing today, Patrick?
I'm very well, Aro. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic. I have waited a lifetime for this moment that's about ready to take place. I mean, me and the world, and here it comes.
Yes, it's an enormously historic event and an incredible honor to be invited to take part in it and also to have composed the Coronation March. So I'm very much looking forward to it. Very excited indeed.
I would love listeners to really pay close attention to how this presentation is going to come in, because it's not just a one-person project. There is a team of creative minds that are making this a moment in history.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm part of many composers who've been commissioned on the day. There's a great selection of a varied selection and a great range of music throughout the days. My piece, the Coronation March, will accompany the Commonwealth procession. So I'm very proud of that, and it's an incredible honour to be part of an unbelievable lineage of composers who have gone before me. There's a great tradition of marches for royal occasions, and including the coronations. So to be part of a group before me like Purcell, Handel, Walton, and Elgar is an unbelievable privilege and honour. I've known the King for a long time, so he's been a great supporter of my music throughout my career.
Doesn't it feel good to say King? I mean, and when I hear the word King, I'm going, yeah, that sounds great.
Well, when I was asked various people, what's the title of the piece? I said, well, I think quite simply, not to be over flowery and over creative, King Charles III, Coronation March.
Yeah.
I think it just says it does what it says on the tin, I hope. So it's a great title, and he very much liked it. So that's what it's called.
When they came to you and wanted your creative service, I can't imagine what that did to the inside of your soul. I mean, all of a sudden you must have been on fire with ideas.
Well, I was on fire with terror to begin with, Arrow, to be honest. And that incredible mixture of unbelievable excitement, honour, thrilling, and oh my goodness, that's all very well, but I've still got to compose it. So, but I thought in between this genuine, real feeling of intimidation, this was so huge, the thought of millions of people all over the world watching this piece, and so the responsibility of composing any commission is always daunting, but to have been part of this lineage and et cetera, was a huge burden. I felt personal burden on my shoulders, but I thought to myself, well, King Charles wouldn't have asked me if he didn't think I was up to the task. So I listened to the brief, and I was asked to make it triumphant and uplifting and memorable. So these three key words come into my musical sort of brief and language, and I listened to lots of music, lots of marches. I remember I've composed many marches for film, Cinderella and Harry Potter even. So it's that part of it. I knew the genre. So, but this special occasion with this great ladies before me added enormous pressure. But at one point, I sat bolt upright, my poor wife, in bed, and at this trumpet melody came into my head, two trumpets in harmony, and I quickly jotted it down on the iPhone. And in the morning, to my joy, it sounded still very strong. So that's in there. So there comes a point after all research and think and thought and everything about it, the brief, it's almost like comets of ideas that fly into your head. You go into what they call an alpha state, where everything around you just stops and you have to focus. And out of that comes hopefully some inspiration.
Man, if I heard two trumpets in the middle of the night, I would think it was Gabriel's trumpets. I'd be horrified.
That could be a good thing. At least you know you were going up. As opposed to the other place. So no, it does happen that you hear melodies and ideas, and it's always most of the time in the morning, you think, oh, that was just a thought in my half sleep. But this was very clear. It was a real clarity, and it was in there the following day.
I've been blessed with the opportunity to talk with several different musicians from all styles of music, and they always talk about pulling riffs or hooks from the past, something that they've held on to for several years. Did any of that play out in the march for you?
I wish.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
I wish. No, it's all fresh. No, nothing. No, it came from the brief and my personal interaction with King Charles over the years, the former Prince of Wales, and the brief I was given. So really, these are all the sort of verbal sort of instructions. Also, I was asked to can I please make the piece no more than 4 minutes long?
Yes.
And they knew that my experience as a film composer, I would be accustomed to writing within these parameters. So that was that initially I thought, oh, this might be for a march like this. I'm not sure if this is the same experience I have in film. But in fact, it turns out to be a very good discipline, and I think it fits very nicely into that. That in fact, they said they wanted no more than, not a second longer than 4 minutes, but it can be less. So it comes in at 3 minutes, 55 seconds with reverb.
So now I know that nothing happens on that stage unless you've practiced it, rehearsed it, you've laid it all out. Yeah. You're going to be out in the public. How are you guys collaborating together as one single note here in order to make it work? I mean, there's no way you're going to go up there and just perform it.
No, absolutely, Arrow. We had a rehearsal over 10 days ago in London, not in the Abbey, in a hall in London, just to air the piece and check for notes and clarity and everything else. So it went very well. I was very happy. There were some dynamic changes I've made, just in terms of the level and the balance. Maybe I pulled a less snare drum. I was over anxious about the march aspect of it, and I sort of slightly overcompensated for the reverberation in the Abbey, and some of the notes were a little short, so I've lengthened them, and I thought, leave that to musicians, they'll sort that out. But the balance was great. I loved it, and Sir Anthony Pappano is the conductor of all the music for the day, and he was so generous, and the orchestra were amazing. It's the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra.
Oh, of course.
But for the occasion, there will be members of that orchestra plus other musicians from all over the UK, drawn from the various orchestras that the former Prince of Wales was patron, and they're going to call the orchestra the Coronation Orchestra.
Wow. So have you started collecting souvenirs yet? Because I'm sure you've been out there on the streets watching how everybody's got to be selling stuff.
Yes, there'll be lots of cups and saucers and tea towels and fake crowns and goodness knows what. No, I'm just glad to be part of it. I can't tell you, that's an understatement. I'm thrilled to be part of it. It's very exciting, and I'm very excited. And I'm a very excitable character anyway, so I'm going to have to be as calm as possible. I've been measured for my morning suit. I've never worn a morning suit.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that because I mean, and I'm sure that had to be approved too, didn't it?
Well, people were asked when the invitation came to be part of the audience during the ceremony. That was a surprise. I didn't expect it, but it was wonderful to receive it. Then another email came from the Palace, a circular saying, "Could people please wear a morning suit?" So I've gone. Fortunately, in my local town, there's a hire shop, so I've gone out and hired a nice morning suit. I don't possess one. I don't. It's not every week you're asked to be part of a coronation ceremony.
Mm-hmm. So from one creative person to another creative person, all of this energy, this love, this passion, this your lifelong music journey is coming to this moment in the world, and then all of a sudden it'll be over with. How are you going to handle the morning of that? Because I mean, it's like this is it. Oh my God, it's all over now. What do you do?
Well, I'll be relieved that I've actually got risen to the occasion, this incredibly historic occasion. Also, the day after the coronation, my wife and I have been invited to Windsor Castle because there's a concert the following evening. It's a pop concert, and we've been invited to some drinks and celebration pre that concert. So we'll be very pleased about that. But I think hopefully the piece will have an afterlife of its own, because I've been asked by King Charles if it could be written in a way that it's adaptable for woodwind bands and brass bands, all sorts of wind combinations throughout the world. So hopefully it will have an afterlife. There are so many wonderful memories so far, and I'm sure there's plenty more to come between now and the big day. So I think there's a wonderful bank of memories that will last for a long time afterwards.
To sit down and have that conversation with the king and to ask questions or to request different things, and then to find out that he wants to modernize everything, that really grabbed my attention when I heard that.
Yes. Well, yes, it's a scaled down ceremony. It's only 2 hours long. I think the last ceremony was in 1953 was 5 hours long. Ooh. And it's a very diverse and very representative program, and musicians from all over the UK and all over the Commonwealth, with all sorts of different styles of music, Baroque music, and there's Greek Orthodox music, which is a sort of homage to his father, and then there's going to be gospel choir music. So it really is a very, very varied and diverse and broad range of music. So he's a great lover of the arts, is King Charles, and he has played a very personal role in choosing his program and being very much part of it. So I'm very, very excited to be not only be representing the UK, but also representing my Scottish roots and heritage.
Now, I've also heard a rumor that there's an organ involved. Now, that right there, really kind of gets my attention, because it's like, wow, how are they going to do that, and how is it going to play into the entire process?
Well, I can give you a hint in that it comes nearer the end of the piece.
Okay.
So I can't really talk about the pieces there, but it comes in there because if you had it at the beginning, you've nowhere to go.
Right.
So it comes in. Has a starring role at the end. So it's an extraordinary instrument. And as I said, the piece is up in the organ loft. So it will be a privilege and an honour to be part of the orchestra and hear that incredible instrument as well.
You were talking about having the song having a life after the moment. It's got to. YouTube, TikTok. I mean, all of these, it's going to be transferred around the world so that people that didn't get into the moment of right now, they're going to be able to watch it over and over again. And generations well beyond us are going to be able to watch it as well.
Well, that's a very exciting prospect, and a great honour to be part of that possibility. I'm sure it will be played all over the world, and I hope people will respond to it as well as people have responded to it so far during rehearsals. So I'm very excited, and yes, I remember I recently I read a book about the life of Rachmaninoff, who spent, as you know, most of his life in America. And as a young boy, Tchaikovsky took him out for lunch, and he knew he was a talented boy from the conservatoire. And Rachmaninoff said to Tchaikovsky, as he walked in, the little orchestra in the corner of the restaurant played a piece by Tchaikovsky. And he said, "Mr. Tchaikovsky, don't you think it's wonderful? I've always dreamt that would happen to me as a composer one day. How do you feel when you walk into a restaurant?" And he says, "Well, quite frankly, I'm rather indifferent." but I thought, indifferent? I don't think so. Not in my case. I hope I'm the exception to the rule. So I will not be indifferent. Far from it. The other end of the spectrum, I'll be completely blown over, as I am at the moment. So, but it made me laugh. I sort of understood what he meant, because he's so prolific, I suppose, and one great piece of genius after the other. He'd probably get blasé within his own soul. But anyway, I'm not blasé or indeed nonplussed. I am very, very thrilled to be part of it.
How do you condition yourself for that moment when you know you've got like maybe an IFB in your ear, somebody's counting it down, you're about ready to begin? I mean, to lead where you're going to be standing. I mean, I can't imagine what your heart is going to be doing, and will you pay close attention to the way that you're breathing?
Well, I won't be. The person sitting beside me in the abbey will be listening to my breathing whether I faint or not. But I would be conducting it. It will be conducted by Sir Anthony Pappano, who has just recently been appointed as the principal conductor of the London Symphony Orchestra. He played for the rehearsal, so he's the one with the beating heart. I'm sure he has. In fact, I know he has a lot on his plate, but he's a man of great patience and great talent and artistry, and he was so generous to everyone, including myself. So very encouraging, and I'm in the best hands in the world.
Does it feel like a once-in-a-lifetime moment, or do you feel like a child in a candy store and you can come back anytime?
I never get blasé. I never. I'm. Who knows if it's a once in a lifetime, but it certainly is. So far, it's definitely a once in a lifetime, and I very much am a kid in a candy store. Someone said, another composer said, I can't remember who it was, that the symphony orchestra is the biggest toy in the world. You can wind it up and off it goes, and that's why it's such a. I suppose it's quite a difficult task because every single breath of the music, you have to technically put that on the page. All these hieroglyphics for people who don't read music, the orchestra, all instantly as a group of the Italian and German. These are the common languages that everyone uses. It just saves any discrepancy about how loud or soft or fast it should be. So these are. It's an incredible thing when this enormous wielding, you think unwieldy machine kicks off and it springs like an antelope across a ravine. It's just an incredible feeling, and nothing in the world will beat that first moment where the orchestra strike up. It's thrilling.
The fact that you're sharing your story today is amazing to me in the way that I want listeners to understand that, yes, they're going to see some beautiful things on those screens and with their big flat screens and stuff, but they need to pay attention to the sounds because this moment has to have a soundtrack, and you're part of it, and you're sharing your story with us.
Yes, well, it's a pleasure to do that and a privilege. And my understanding is that the music during the coronation will be recorded and it will be released, I believe, that evening digitally. And the company is, I believe it's, what? I've just asked my assistant, what's the record company? Universal Decca are the company that's releasing it. So that's very, very exciting to be part of. Yes, it's incredible to think that it's going to have a life afterwards. But that puts enormous pressure on the musicians, who I greatly admire. Where none of us are anybody without the incredible work that these musicians will bring to it, considering all the years they practice, all those lonely hours, perfecting each individual instrument and skills. I never take it for granted, and I'm always in awe of them, and very, very respectful and delighted to be honoured to have them as part of the orchestra I'm involved in.
Oh, I love where your heart is. Patrick, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you.
Well, thank you, Arrow. It's been a great pleasure. It really is. It's a privilege to be part of this, and also it's a great honour to be talking to yourself and for people to show interest. So I don't take anything for granted. I'm very, very pleased indeed. Well,
you be brilliant today, okay, sir?
Thank you very much. All the best.